Okay. Alrighty. I guess we're doing this. We're doing this for the 500th time. Okay, I'm exaggerating. In fact, you know what? I just realized I unplugged my mic in. Welcome to this week's episode. My life is a mess, and I don't know how to get on a routine. Since we're talking about how my life is a mess, this is my microphone for right now. This is the best that I can do. I'm sorry if you don't like it, but we're on a budget, and this is our first episode that we've attempted to make 5,000 times. I don't know why I'm saying we. It's just me. Why am I doing that? Because my life is a mess. Maybe I want somebody else to also be in this mess with me so I don't feel alone. But I'm not technically alone. I have 2 dogs and 2 cats, and they are chaos. I think, sometimes in ways, I guarantee you 1,000%, in a lot of ways, it is easier to have animals over children. I wouldn't trade that for anything. And that's nothing personal. I just don't want kids, and that's okay. And if you want kids and animals, my God, I don't even know how you do it with all of them, but congratulations and kudos to you for being able to handle all of that, because that is a lot. I at least can put my dog in the kennel when I go to work, and I don't have to find a babysitter. But when I go out of town, my dog has to go to the dog sitter. When I do go out of town, my dog has to go to her trainer because she's a pain in the butt. As you might be able to hear her barking in the background. What were we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about how my life is a mess, and maybe it'll make you feel a little bit better about your life. We can all relate on how we do not have this picture perfect life. I came across like some sort of quote or just something that I saw from, I want to say it was my sister-in-law that posted it, but she had posted something that talked about how we're always comparing our life to people's highlight reels. And I think that is so important to remember, because you're always scrolling through social media and you're seeing people's lives just looking perfect all the time, and it makes you kind of feel like crap. Makes you feel like crap about yourself. And I know for me, I am so hard on myself. And so when I see those kind of things and I compare people of the same age as me to my life, I get really sad. I get really depressed.
This is fine. Things are gonna be okay.
But I think we all just got to stop and remember, those are people's highlighter reels. Not everyone has their life together. And I think sometimes too, some people that really do have their lives together, they probably have 4 assistants, or at least 1. The things I could accomplish with 1 assistant, you guys, with 1 assistant, my life would be 10 times easier. I could already tell you that much, and if I had the funds to always have Instacart deliver my groceries, if I always had the funds to buy the Daily Harvest shakes and things like that. Sometimes I buy those things. I've never done Instacart delivery. I have done the Uber Eats here and there, very rarely when I've been at work and girl needs her Starbucks coffees.
Oh, that really hurt, man.
damn straight.
Why'd you do that?
Man, I'm about to be your 4th cup of coffee today. You can't be doing that. You can't be fucking up like that.
So she's going to overpay to get it, which is not really cool. But they do have that $9.99 a month pass, which I guess if you order from Uber Eats a lot, that's a pretty good deal. I just don't order that much out like that. The food that I feed my animals, it's a raw diet, and there are a couple of brands that will deliver raw food to you, but sometimes it's hard to have that money readily available in your bank account the day they pull the order, because they just do it weekly. They don't just, it's not like when you run out and you order more, it's they're on weekly ship dates. And for the average person whose life isn't a mess, they probably could make that work. But not this girl who serves for a living, because I cannot also budget my money either. Big surprise, I know. I mean, plus it's getting harder. With how expensive everything is, I'm trying to figure out new hobbies and new things that will help me have a side income. And I think also it's great that there's all this information out there on how to like become financially free and to learn how to like start your own business and stuff like that. But I feel in a way, sometimes it's an overload. Like sometimes you're trying to get information and you just can't because it's almost like it comes at you in so many different directions that I personally, I get overwhelmed. If you get overwhelmed too, I want to know in the comments what like side hobby you're trying to start, and have you found something that works? Do you feel overwhelmed? Do you feel like something is actually like helping you? And the other thing I struggle with is, there are so many options out there that are free, and I love, love, love that. But then it's like I hate when you get those little free courses and then it jumps into a course you have to pay for, and it's so much money, like a few $100s. And I'm not discrediting that some of these courses are worth it. I hate when you just don't know ahead of time. It's like, is this course actually worth it? And it's not even just like influencers that are doing this. I mean, people of all calibers are doing this. And there's some great information out there for sure, and I'm willing to pay for it. I just hate that you don't know. Like you don't know ahead of time if like this really is going to be something that's beneficial to you. I know there's a few times where I've almost been scammed on doing some courses.
This asshole tried to sell us 1 week. We took the prick for 3.
You think he didn't want to sell you as many weeks as possible?
I had a friend who really wanted to get into flipping houses, and I would love to flip a house one day. I would love to have the experience. It's something I've always wanted to try. It doesn't mean I'm going to do it for the rest of my life. It doesn't mean I'm going to love it. But I have always wanted to try to do that. Not saying like I am the contractor. That's not what I mean. Obviously, I would have to hire a contractor out for some of the work because I don't know how to do everything. But I do love seeing like something that's like been completely destroyed be renovated and recreated and turned into something new that a person gets to enjoy. It just being able to be, creative and make these kind of decisions and just turn something that is rumble into something beautiful. And so I had gone with her to this class, and I wish I could remember the house flipper's name. It wasn't like one I had really known from like HGTV, but it was that very similar style if anyone's ever gone to one of these conferences. And it was kind of one of those things like, come to the first one and we'll teach you everything you want to know. And then if it's for you, great, buy into the course. If it's not for you, great, don't buy into the course. And the presentation was pretty good, and it was about an hour long, and the course was $20,000 for just the next level. Then there was a level after that was like another $35,000. And that to me was just insane. It might have even been more expensive. That first course might have even been more. And they were like, oh, you can do a 2-for-1. You and your friend can do it together. And the thing is, like, she had the money, but I did not. And so I went home and I did some research. And yeah, I just remember like messaging them immediately because like she had convinced me to sign up, and we were gonna do these insane payment plans, and I just couldn't. I knew I wasn't gonna be able to make that work. Like I just don't know why. I got caught up in the moment, as we all do sometimes. And so I remember emailing them and just be like, you know what, I don't really like the reviews that I'm reading, because I did do some research after I got home, and I didn't like the reviews that I was reading and what people had to say, and I would like to cancel, and I want my money back, and da 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 da. And so they did let me end up canceling, which was nice. But some of these courses are just so intense, and they just grab you at the right moment, and they know what they're doing, and it's so messed up. But I'm trying to figure my life out, just like the rest of us. I don't think we actually ever really figure our life out, but we're trying. We're all trying. I think also there's been such a drastic shift in society norm, hopefully for the better. But it used to be, I remember when I was a kid, that it was like, oh, you go to school, then you go to college, then you get a job and get married and have kids, and that's your life. And that was like what the American dream was, have kids, get a house, white picket fence. And so I think that the age group that I came from was sort of on the cusp of, hey, you know what? We don't actually really like that. And how can we make things different? And I think a chunk of us followed into the norm. My light just changed. That was weird. Hopefully it's still fine. I think the lighting's still okay. But we kind of shifted norms from like, you have to be married and have kids by the age of 25 and like just crazy stuff to that, to be like, hey, you know what? Maybe I actually want to enjoy my 20s. I can have kids in my 30s. Maybe I don't want kids at all. Maybe I want to travel for a little while. And, we realized, oh, hey, we have options. But I think with those options, I'm doing really weird things with my hands, by the way. Sorry if it's distracting. So is this light back here, but whatever. But I think it's created this whole new like whirlwind of situations to where now not only are we like, oh, I don't know what I want to do with my life. Not everybody, some people know, but now I'm like, I keep getting older and older and I still haven't figured it out. And we're supposed to have it figured out, but really, like, you don't have to have it figured out. And it's okay to change job fills and careers throughout your life. And I think that we struggle with that as an idea that it's okay. You don't have to like stick to one thing for the rest of your life, and it's okay to branch out and it's okay to have side hustles. But at the same time, I feel like it can be so overwhelming. I don't know, maybe I need to meditate more. That actually meditating is a huge thing on my list of things I want to get done this year. I posted this video on my other YouTube channel talking about how to create a vision board, but it was a digital vision board that I had learned from this YouTuber by the name of Tara Michelle. And so I keep it on my phone as a daily reminder, and I piece together things and I put them in like a Photoshop type of situation. And I wrote down the future letter to myself, and I wrote it was like an 8-page letter, like thanking myself for all the things I accomplished this year, thinking about ahead of time what you'd like to accomplish, how you want to see your year unfold. And meditating daily was one of them, and I've meditated like 4 times. We're getting there. I was also journaling almost every day, and then I kind of stopped, and I'd like to get back into that again. Trying to find a balance is so hard. And listen, if you're out there and you're trying to find a balance, you're not alone. Don't think everyone's got it together, because we don't. And I know a lot of people, I don't want to say a lot, but people that know me always ask me like, why, like, because I go to bed really late, you guys, but I only work a few night shifts now a week. My schedule's changed, but people will be like, oh, why do you go to bed so late? Why does it take you so long to go to bed? So a lot of times I have to take my dogs for a nighttime walk, and I really need to shift to start doing that in the daytime. If I got up earlier, I could. I'm trying to film a lot of my stuff in the daytime with the daytime light, because I suck at figuring out this studio lighting situation. But so I try and film a lot in the daytime, and I'm trying to get ready and do all this stuff. And so I don't typically take them for longer walks in the daytime. We just go out for a couple of quick potty breaks. I let one of my dogs hang out in the yard. She can go to the bathroom whenever she wants, obviously she's supervised, but, and so then we go for our walks at nighttime. I'm usually gone for about an hour and a half between both dogs. I eat dinner, then I walk my dogs, and then I get sucked into a couple of TV shows, which I try really hard not to. Sometimes it's so hard though, because I fall behind on all these episodes, and the episodes are 45 minutes long. And so I try not to watch the whole thing, but sometimes it just happens. And then before I know it, I'm racing to get to bed. I'm also feeding the animals after our walk, because you're really not supposed to feed your dog within like 30 minutes of going for your walk. And because I don't just scoop them kibble, I have to like cut up their food and add their supplements. And the funny thing is, I thought, oh, maybe I could just prep their food in the daytime. Like when I make their first meal of the day, I should just prep their dinner. And I know that there are ways to make my life easier. I think about all these things at nighttime, and then I write them down, and then I don't read them for like how to make my life easier the next day. Who else is out there doing this? Like, I don't even know. And the funny thing is, people say to me like, you should just set reminders in your phone. And yes, I should. In fact, you know what? I have 100 reminders in my phone going off every other hour throughout the day, and I just mute and save them for the next day.
You crazy girl.
Like, I literally don't even read them anymore because there's so many, and I've just trained my brain to be like, "Oh, yeah, I'll get to that later. I'll get to that later. I'll get to that later." Same with a planner. I'll write things down in a planner for, like, what I want to accomplish. I won't read it. Like, I cannot get my brain to wake up and be like, "Read this and accomplish." So, I don't know. I know I'm not alone. There's gotta be other people out there who also struggle with this, and if you have any tips, please leave them in the comments, because when I figure it out, I will definitely let you know. So with all those things happening, the next thing I know, it's like somewhere between 2 and 4 in the morning, and then for whatever reason, my cat Callie will just become needy for whatever. So my cat Callie, I'll feed her when I get back from walking the dogs, and we're fighting right now about her food. We're fighting about it. She doesn't want to go full raw. She was on like a special line from this brand called Weruva, and so I'd still scoop a little bit of it in her raw food, but she needs to be on raw food because she's having some health problems, and the raw food is helping her with her health problems, but she's being a little finicky about it. So we fight for 3 hours about her eating her food. She'll take a few bites, decide she hates it, I gotta add something else to it. It is making my life so hard. Also, I struggle with sleeping, like, hi, so does the rest of the world, but I struggle with sleeping because I don't know how to shut my brain off, which I'm told meditating would really help. But I lay awake at night and I think about how I don't have like a savings account for the future, and there's not going to be social security, and I think about how I'm getting older and that makes me anxious, and that how my life isn't where I want it to be, and I feel like I'm on a hamster wheel because I'm not spending time working on my hobbies and working on little side projects that could find routes to give me more of a passive income. That's a huge word we see a lot and hear a lot now. It's like passive income, passive income. And it feels overwhelming trying to figure out said passive income. Am I right? Who is with me on that? I mean, really. It's so much. Speaking of also trying to get my life together, as I mentioned somewhere earlier in this episode, I don't even know at this point how many times I have recorded this flippin' episode. I have written out my podcast for my first episode, and then I've had to rewrite it because I filmed it and I put current events in there. So you know what? I'm just not going to do? I'm just not going to put important current event topics in here until I get on a routine for editing, because that is the hardest part for me. It's not about filming the episode. It's about editing the episode. Okay, it's 75% about filming the episode because I want the lighting to be perfect and I want my makeup to be perfect. And I actually just didn't make my makeup perfect today. So that's something else I just would like to give an example of. I put a little bit of eyebrow product in my eyebrows. I didn't even go full ham. In fact, my eyebrows, they need to be plucked. They are not what I would like them to be, but I'm also trying to grow them out so that I can reshape them because I don't love the shape of them. I put on 2 eyeshadow colors and some mascara, and that is all I put on today. And I just thought, you know what, this is good enough. Like, I'm going to stop trying to be so perfect for growing my podcast channel and growing my YouTube channel. And you know what, I actually have some vlog videos where I'm not wearing any makeup at all. And I think that it's kind of becoming a little more acceptable to be you and be natural across social media platforms, which is really nice. It's quite a relief, but I also know it's really hard too for some women to be confident enough not to wear makeup, and some men that wear makeup sometimes don't want to be seen without it either. And I think it's really important to be able to accept that about yourself, which I know is not easy. Like, sometimes I look at my videos and I'm like, oh my God, you look terrible in that shot. But oh well, I'm going to post it anyways because this is life. And I think we all try so hard to make everything perfect. No, maybe not all of us. I'll take that back. I'm the type of person who has had to overcome the idea of everything has to be perfect before I post it. Because when you do that, you get in your own way. And listen, I am the queen of getting in my own way. And so I mean, I guess that's the only advice on this spectrum that I could give you is if you want to do something and you like a side hobby and you want to get it going, but you're so stressed about making it perfect, just don't make it perfect. It's okay because you're going to make mistakes and learn along the way anyways. And so you might as well just do it. Just go for it. And it's okay if it's not perfect. Yeah, there's quite a few things of projects that I want to get done this year. I really want to get my YouTube channel taken off. I did already start posting vlogs over there. So if you're, I don't know if I can post a link on my podcast channel, but I for sure have links to it on my Instagram. So if you go over to I'm_Ash Parker, there's a link to my YouTube channel right there. I need to get one of those like Linktree type of things. I don't want to do Linktree specifically though. Like I want a different one, but I need one of those little link thingamabobbers, whatever they're called, so I can link all of my stuff below because the podcast is not on that same channel. The podcast, which if you saw in the title, is called What About My Coffee? What about my coffee? I love coffee. I'm very defensive of my coffee. Do not mess with my coffee. Do not get in the way of letting me get coffee.
I haven't slept in 8 days.
Because I love coffee, like so much. I am willing to admit that that is my one addiction in life. I don't want to live without coffee, ever. It makes me sad to think about waking up, like when I'm sick and I don't let myself have coffee because I'm not feeling well. I am so sad about it because I just love it. I love the smell of it. I'm just a coffee whore, you know? I can't help myself. Who else really loves coffee? I want to know like what your favorite brand of coffee is. If you make coffee at home, I want to know. I'm also on the hunt for a good espresso maker that's like under $400, which is still way above budget, but I know you got to spend at least a couple Benjamins to get what you need. If anyone has an espresso maker that they absolutely love that's under $400, let me know in the comments because I really need one. Because I am spending way too much money at the old Starbucks, going there practically every day. I could have an espresso maker paid for by now, like 17 times over. I get distracted easily, guys. Who else? I don't even remember what we were talking about before the coffee. But anyways, the coffee, this is the name of my podcast. I'm very defensive about my coffee. I was raised in a religion where coffee was not acceptable, known as the LDS religion, formerly known as the Mormons, because apparently they're not allowed. No, I don't think that's not allowed, but I heard something about saying how they didn't want to be associated as Mormons anymore because I think the Mormons referred to like the old ideology of Mormonism, of the church when they had, you know, polygamists and all that stuff. And so they're trying to pretend to step away from that, but yet they haven't really shifted their views on a lot of other things. So I'm going to go ahead and say that I was raised Mormon. Okay, then. We weren't allowed to drink coffee. I don't think you still are allowed to drink coffee in that religion, which is so weird to me because Dr. Pepper is just as much caffeine. People drink sodas. People drink Mountain Dew. They drink Diet Dr. Pepper. Not all of them. I'm not saying all of them, but quite a few of them do. And it's acceptable, but yet it has just as much caffeine, way worse ingredients for you, but it's okay. The contradiction I don't quite understand, nor do I care to understand it. So I've always been defensive about my coffee ever since I started drinking coffee at the age of like 13 or 14. Yeah, I was a little young. There was a gas station and they used to have a cappuccino and a frappuccino machine. I want to say maybe they didn't have a frappuccino machine. No, they didn't. They just had a cappuccino machine. You know, the basic one at the grocery store, or not the grocery store, at the gas station where you just put your cup under the machine and you press the button and it dispenses said flavor coffee. I loved that machine. So we would either go there on our lunch break or we'd skip a class and we'd go get coffee. And we were always very respectable people. Listen, every time we went somewhere, we were always very respectable. If we went somewhere where we went out to eat, even if we were skipping class, like, and someone, you know, we would get waited on, we'd always tip really well. I don't know how I just knew that that's what you did. But I will say that being respectable and tipping a lot when you're skipping class keeps you from having the cops called on you when you're supposed to be in said class. Because I know that there was this one restaurant we would go to all the time for breakfast, and they wouldn't allow high schoolers in because they had to be in class. They never told us we weren't allowed in, but they would not let other people in. And it's because they knew that we were respectable. They knew that we were going to tip well, and we, weren't going to leave a mess. Not saying how to skip school. I'm not giving you that advice. I'm just telling you it helps when you're respectable to other people when you should be in class. I've always had to hide my coffee, or when I got to the age where I was old enough to, when I moved out, I still had to be defensive as to why I drank it. Or when I worked a lot, like I always do, I would just load up on caffeine, and I've cut back on the amount of caffeine that I drink. I have cut back on the amount of coffee I consume in a day just to try and be better to myself, because I shouldn't have that much. I do more of a 2/3 decaf caffeine type of thing. I try to mellow it out. If anyone that knows me knows that I drink an insane amount of coffee, and I'm not going to stop. I did cut back a little. I think it's a little funny of a play on word to my life because I wasn't allowed to have it. And so now it's always don't talk about my coffee. This is me, and you're going to have to accept it. I come with coffee. And a lot of people love coffee, so it's fine. My type of people love coffee. It's what I'm trying to say. My type of people, we love the coffee. So that was kind of what inspired me to come up with that name for my podcast. And oddly enough, I was walking my dog when I came up with the name. A lot of times I would walk my dog and listen to headphones because I needed to distract myself. And my headphones broke. My wireless headphones broke. I got to get some new ones. And so I was like, okay, well, I guess this is it. I guess we don't get to listen to stuff while we're walking the dog anymore, which probably was for the best. I need to really be paying attention at nighttime to making sure that there's not some crazy animal running across the street or something like that. And I just started pondering, and I thought, I wonder, what are things that I love? Well, I love coffee. And so I kind of typed in coffee for the name of these different podcasts to see what was coming up, because obviously other people have podcasts with the name coffee in them. And I kind of thought, well, what if I'm defensive about my coffee? And then it just came to me, what about my coffee? I will be sharing little tips and tricks as I learn them too on this podcast. But this podcast is not going to be niched down into one subject. And I know there's a lot of podcasts out there that are not down to one subject. I don't want to niche myself into a corner, okay? I don't. But also we will have guests on the show talking about various different things. We're going to talk about insane customer service stories. We're going to talk about off-the-wall religious stories that have happened to people. We're going to talk about contradictions. We're going to talk about politics, probably, maybe, depending on what it is. We're going to talk about good people, bad people, everything. My dog barking because she likes to bark things. If you like random podcasts and you also can't keep your brain in one spot like me, this is a good place for you, and welcome, and I appreciate you listening. As far as me trying to get my life together, welcome to the mess of my life, and I hope this is a place where you at least can feel a little bit better about your life if it's not in order, because here I am, not with my life in order. And hopefully we get to share tips and fun stories back and forth with each other. And I really look forward to growing with all of you. I appreciate you tuning in. Thank you so much for your time. Give me a like and a subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Go follow me on Instagram. I'm working on building my Twitter. I've also started a TikTok for the What About My Coffee podcast, which will be really fun to do. But definitely come over and join me on my other social media platforms and comment below. Please be nice. We're trying to be nice around here to each other. I mean, sometimes we don't have nice things to say about what's going on in the world on the podcast, but let's be nice to each other in the comments. I think that that's always important. Kindness goes a lot farther. We're all guilty of not being kind, even me, but I try really, really hard to be kind. I try to sit back and think, like, what would Gary Vee do? Or what would Gary Vee say? That's who I think about when I think I need to be kind. It's not which like guru, influencer, person, motivational speaker, which one do you think of when you think like, you know how some people are like, what would Jesus do? My thing is, what would Gary Vee do? So I'm wondering who do you think about when you're like, oh, I need to calm down, or ooh, I could do this better, or ooh, like I'm not being nice, this is what I should do. I want to know. I love motivational speakers, by the way. So if there's someone that's your favorite, put them down below. I really like Tony Robbins. I love his motivational speeches. They're really inspiring. I like Gary Vee. I want to say the other guy's name is Jordan Peterson. I really love to listen to his stuff too. And Joe Dispenza, oh, he's good. Those are like, I love listening to them. So if you have recommendations, let me know. But you definitely should check these people out. I enjoy listening to them. They make me feel good. Thank you again for tuning in to today's episode. And I will catch you on the next one. Bye.